What does a career in brand marketing or brand management look like? What does a brand marketer do? Well, I have been doing this for almost 10 years now, so I want to tell you. And there is so much to cover that I can't just do it in one video. So this will be multiple parts, but today's video will be focused on, honestly, my favorite part, which is product innovation. But first, when I say marketing, well, that's a very broad term. First, you have different industries: technology, healthcare, or what I work in, consumer packaged goods. Now, what does that mean? That means these are products that are found on the shelf. It could be laundry detergent, ice cream, bottled water. And another term for this is fast moving consumer goods, because these move fast, they move quickly off the shelf. They're purchased frequently. And behind each of these product lines is a brand, and some are very popular. So think of Coca-Cola, Snickers, Tide, laundry detergent. And behind each brand is a big marketing team with a big marketing budget. Okay, but what do these teams actually do? A lot of people think marketing is advertising. So they work on TV commercials, they put together ads. Well, that is one part of it. And they would partner with an agency to make that happen, usually. But there are many elements to brand marketing. And as I mentioned, today will be all about innovation, which is essentially when a new product is launched. There is a full process to make that happen. And it could be a breakthrough product that is so new and disruptive to a category, or it could be a pretty simple product. It could just be a different flavor of a product that already exists. So there's a whole range of innovation. And when it comes to the process, it really all starts with the consumer. So who is a consumer? A consumer is someone who consumes your product. It's very straightforward. Or it could be someone who doesn't currently consume your product, but they potentially could, and you want to reach them. And so you want to create a product that would make a person want to purchase that product. So the reason the process starts with the consumer is because you need to understand, what does that consumer want? And of all the products that already exist, what's missing from those products that a consumer is not getting? Now, this could be a lot of things depending on the type of product. So, for example, let's say they want a product that has less sugar or fewer calories, or they want a soap that has a better smell, or one that moisturizes their skin better. So you could see it, depending on the product, there could be a lot of things the consumer wants or needs. And the reason that innovation is so important is that these needs and wants and preferences, they change over time for a consumer. So you need to keep up with it with new, exciting products to meet those ever-changing or evolving needs. Now, you might say to me, well, I get it, but there are some products that have been around for 100 years and they still do well. They haven't needed to evolve. And you are right. So let's take Coca-Cola. It launched in 1886, and hey, it still sells billions and billions of dollars worth of product. And the formula has been the same for, I think, over 100 years. They tried to change it once. That didn't work. However, Coca-Cola has innovated. They launched Diet Coke in 1982. They launched Coke Zero Sugar in 2005. And both of those products make billions of dollars every year. And then, of course, there's my favorite Coke product, Coke Vanilla. If I had to choose and I saw products on a shelf of just Coke, I would choose Coke Vanilla, zero sugar, actually. And so you can see that even if you have a really popular product that sells billions of dollars, there is still opportunity to launch additional products to make money. Another example, M&M's, of course, very popular globally. It launched in 1941. It's still around. It's still a huge product. They haven't needed to change that formula. Or maybe they have and I don't know about it. But they then launched peanut M&Ms in 1954. And now peanut M&Ms make up about 25 to 30% of the total M&M sales. There's also a big risk if you don't innovate. So the yogurt category or industry is a great example. Yogurt was dominated by brands like Danone or Danone and Yoplait. But then, several years ago, Greek yogurt became popular with consumers, and brands like Chobani came in and disrupted the category. And then it left Yoplait and Danone scrambling to innovate as well to meet those different consumer demands. So there's a big risk if you don't innovate. And you could see this across any industry. Think about Blockbuster Video, where you would rent a video. Well, now everything is streaming. Or Kmart. Why did Kmart fail when Walmart succeeded? So switching to the process. Okay, so how does a brand marketer launch a new product? I mentioned the consumer. And what you want to do is you want to talk to your consumer or your target consumer, and you want to learn, like I said, about what they want. So you would usually work with another company to talk to the consumer, and they would have focus groups. So they would sit in a room and they would interview a consumer or a group of consumers and find out, what do you like? What don't you like? You could also make it more quantitative. And by quantitative, I mean have a larger number of consumers and you ask them questions in a survey, and then you can see the numbers of what percent like this or what percent don't like this. And to get a bit more specific, because it helps with real examples, you could be talking to consumers of energy drinks, and you might learn some want an energy drink that doesn't have that much caffeine. It's too much. They just want a slight boost in energy. They don't need 200 milligrams of caffeine. Or they may say the current flavors are kind of boring. They don't want fruit flavors. They would love a chocolate energy drink. Or they may say, I use energy drinks before I go to the gym. So I would love it if it also had protein. So you start to ideate. So my favorite part is probably actually that early stage of getting those insights, because it's really surprising. And you may think you know your consumer, but then what they tell you can allow you to uncover many things. So after you have your results, you then want to develop different product concepts. And you're not physically developing them yet. It's just on a screen, on a piece of paper. Let's use a different brand. Let's say it's Snickers candy bar, and you want to launch a new brand or a new product under Snickers, and you learn a lot from the consumer about what they like. And so then you say, let's have a concept that has Snickers with chili pepper and honey, because consumers said they like spicier taste experiences. Or some consumers said they like Snickers, but they don't love caramel. Things like that. You start to ideate, and put together a concept. And you need to also consider, though, does this product's concept make sense for the brand? Snickers is marketed as a substantial food designed to satisfy hunger. So, would they launch a product that has 0 sugar, that's only 100 calories? If they do, they might need to shift their brand positioning because that's no longer a substantial food that satisfies hunger, right? So you always want to have this lens of, does this product concept make sense for our brand? Is Snickers going to launch a veggie chip, a chip made out of vegetables? I would think no. You get my point. So let's say you then test these concepts with consumers, again, just virtually, or maybe in person. You show them a concept on a page. It has a description of a product. It might have imagery. Perhaps your design team has designed packaging artwork. And then you see what resonates. And this can take a good amount of time. And eventually, let's say you have some concepts that do very well with consumers. Well, now you can actually start to develop these. So if it is a food or beverage, you can work with your R&D team. R&D stands for research and development. And let's go back to the energy drink example. They may be in the lab making an energy drink that has only 60 milligrams of caffeine with 10 grams of protein. And then you taste it and you might iterate, you might change it, but eventually you would test those concepts with consumers, right? They would do taste tests and they would provide feedback. Now, sometimes this process could take a long time. If it's a more breakthrough product, as opposed to just a flavor extension, meaning the same product, just a different flavor, it might take a long time. It could be very straightforward. And there are a lot of other things that go into this. Can you make money off of this? How expensive is it to make a product? If you add protein to a drink, doesn't that add cost, for example? So a lot of things go on behind the scenes, and a marketer does need to consider all of that. But again, kind of this fun process of innovating and creating a product, that's what I'm focused on for this video. So let's say you then figure out this is the product. It is this energy drink with less caffeine and protein, and consumers love the taste, and you develop packaging artwork that's amazing, and you're ready to launch. Well, you then need to sell it into the retailers. And by retailers, I mean the grocery stores or Walmart or Target, right? They need to buy into this concept and product. To reach the consumer, you might be able to get them online and have an e-com business, but if you want to sell in store, you need to sell into that store. Each store has a buyer for that category. And then once you get through that, the product can then launch online. One amazing example I wanted to tell you is, if you know the candy Nerds, which are those just small, kind of crunchy, sweet candy, they made about $50 million a year. Okay, decent size. But after doing consumer research, they wanted to launch something that had a gummy taste, more chewy, gummy. And so they finally launched Nerds Clusters in 2011. And it has surpassed the original Nerds. Nerds, as I mentioned, is about 50 million. Nerds Clusters is anywhere from 450 million to 900 million, depending on the source. And so it's so fascinating where if you find an innovation that really hits and that consumers love and it's unique, it could actually totally change your brand, because now Nerds Clusters is the hero of Nerds, even though it's only 15 years old, whereas Nerds is over 40 years old. So that's what I love about innovation, and I could go on and on and on, but I want to be mindful of the length of this video, so I will stop there. and I can always make more videos about innovation, but that was a bit of a tease. And so let me know what questions you have, and I look forward to the next part of this series.